What is the dumbest thing you've heard someone say that they were 100% serious about? These are Reddit's funniest answers to that question. If Earth is spinning, then why is my front door always facing east? I don't even know how to process that first one. Some random girl on the elevator pointed out how ridiculous it is that we had a button for the floor we were already on. People who build stuff are so stupid, she said with 100% seriousness. Oh my gosh, it's not a good start. In college, my teaching assistant in my dinosaurs class insisted that roadrunners weren't real and laughed at me for suggesting it is an answer for a bird that runs fast. But the real dummy was me, because I've seen one in real life and I still said, oh, okay, nah, that's definitely your teacher's fault. And roadrunners definitely are real. How can Hawaii and Alaska have such different temperatures when they're right next to each other on the map? Okay, it's getting a little bit silly now. Blueberry muffins you buy pre-made don't have any blueberries in them. Blueberries cost too much. They dye bees blue because they have the same texture and use them. He has explained it to multiple people multiple times. I could kind of get my head around the fact that perhaps they use something else than blueberries in blueberry muffins. It's unlikely, given the name of the thing. But, you know, who knows if you want to try and cut costs. Bees that are dyed blue. Yeah, now I've heard it all. I was stationed in Germany in the late 80s to 90s. Every Thanksgiving, multiple dudes would be perplexed as to why the Germans didn't celebrate. A dude once told me he was excited to celebrate the 4th with the Germans and asked if they did fireworks. I love you, my brothers, but some of you are dumb. Yeah, pretty American thing. Thanksgiving. Goodness me. Yeah, bro, it says carbonated because they removed the carbs while standing in line at a drugstore. Best eavesdrop of my life. Imagine that was true. Oh, and there's an even better reply to this. My favorite eavesdrop was Greek mythology is wild. It's like Harry Potter, but in real life. It's definitely real. Two young teens standing outside an Indian restaurant. How is that possible? Aren't Indians, like, extinct? Yeah, you know what? I actually thought that myself. But clearly we're both wrong. I knew that from the gecko. Then proceeded to argue that it was definitely gecko, like the animal, and not get-go. P.S. I now only say from the gecko because that is hilarious. That, I agree with that comment, is from r/boneapplet, and it's making me want to make a video on that. Goodness me. I was on a date at an art museum. The painting tag said who it was made by, the title, and made circa 1600, and she said, "Do you think the Earth was even around back then? You just never really know." Well, I think that a lot of artists in the past actually resided on the moon, so she's got a valid point. Hey, can you email me back the PDF I emailed you? It's my only copy. That one is actually, like, that's not even dumb. That is just, yeah, you probably just got severe learning difficulties. That's ridiculous. At one of my first jobs as a graphic designer, a client called me into his office and pulled up a photo he took. He then asked me if I could turn it around. No, not rotate it, but turn the viewpoint around. What? He wanted to see what was behind the camera when he originally took the photo. God, I have so many stories from that job. That might be the dumbest one so far. I mean, it'd be unbelievable if that existed, and who knows, in the future it just may well do. But for now, that is dumb. That ceiling fan dust was the cause of cancer. Like, cancer actually did not exist until ceiling fans collected dust and it fell off. What? Oh, sorry, I don't have an email. I have a Gmail. Goodness me, call center work. You know what? I actually hold my hands up and say that this is not actually that unbelievable. If you get an old person, you give them a ring, you know, E is a letter in the same way that G is a letter. I don't hate this one. Maybe too obscure, but anyway. I was the radiation safety office for our lab group many years ago and was telling one of our more truly brilliant, not being sarcastic, PhDs that his badge came up hot, meaning his technique was bad and he was going to have to be retrained. And he said, "It doesn't affect me. I'm done having my children. Like, being careless with radioactive isotopes can only affect your gonads and not, I don't know, give you freaking cancer?" Yeah, and before too long, they'll be done having their dad. Well, maybe that's the sort of person that isn't truly brilliant. I don't know how you can stand to fly when there's a 50% chance the plane will crash. What a legitimate statistic. Me, blank stare. You know, because it either crashes or it doesn't. 50-50. That's great logic. That really is phenomenal logic. My sister's friend after meeting my fiance for the first time. Where is she from? Well, she was born here in the States, but she's Cambodian. Oh my God, you can't be with her. They eat people. Long blank stare from me. I think you're thinking of cannibals. She then has a long blank stare of her own. What's the difference? What's the difference between cannibals and Cambodians? One of those questions that you just have to ask these days. I'm not so sure myself. The same woman was shocked to find out we believed in space, as in the planets and stars and galaxies. She thought half the sky was light and half the sky was dark. What? And the planet spinning inside the atmosphere is why we had night and day, and that there was nothing else out there. By far the dumbest person I've ever met. I have so many more stories about her. I want to hear them all. How do we know it wasn't just ostriches on the radar that triggered Pearl Harbor? My dude, what? Ostrich? Ugh, there's so much wrong with this. First of all, it's so stupid. Second of all, have you ever seen a flying ostrich? Or an aquatic ostrich? As this comment says, it's brilliant. There's so much to unpack here. And I can't be bothered. I work in construction, and my rigger told me he doesn't believe in gravity with 100% seriousness. Mind you, his job is to rig tens of thousands of pounds of steel so it doesn't fall when moving it with a crane. Well, all I'll say to that is, that makes his job a lot easier. No need to really strap things in if they're not going to fall down, right? Surely that's completely fine. Fair play to him. He's found a loophole in his job. Just kind of think that gravity doesn't exist. Well done. Fish aren't animals. They're mammals. Two of the best sentences / phrases I've heard back to back ever. At age 27, my friend said that he'd gotten into a fight with his girlfriend because he knew that his parents didn't have to have sex to conceive him. His mum got pregnant with him because they got married. Can you imagine that? You get engaged on your wedding day, you are now husband and wife, and by the way, you're now pregnant. Congratulations, guys. What a day that would be. Someone I know argued with me that I do not live anywhere near Canada. He got pretty nasty about it too. When I showed him proof, he said, well, I only know Texas. I live right outside of Detroit, Michigan, closer to Canada than I am to any other state. I've also had a few people argue with me that I do not live in the Eastern time zone. I guess they know better than someone who actually lives here. The thing with these two is that I just don't understand. Like this comment below. Why do you care? Surely there are much more interesting things to have a go at someone about, or question, or query, than you don't live near Canada. Who cares? I was going 30 in a 30. Police officer pulled me over and claimed I was going 50. The dashcam footage of the police officer showed that the officer was going 40 to close the distance and pull me over. Some genius on Facebook said, if you were going 30, then why did the officer have to go 40 to catch up? I'm like, if by some bizarre circumstance that you're actually being serious here, you have to go faster than whatever it is you're following in order to catch up. I don't know, unless this officer has created a new time-space continuum and he is exploiting it. And that is the future of policing. I once had someone try to sell me the theory that the moon is a hologram made by the government to trick people. And how would that help the government in any way? Seriously. How? A guide dog's job is to drive the car for the blind person. We've done it. Congratulations, guys. We've reached it. Peak lunacy. 20 years later, and she's still arguing the points. Surely after 20 years, you might have a little bit more rationale than saying, I can't speak. What is that? Women have 6 ovaries. My 46-year-old sister. Well, you know what? I don't know if that's true or false. I've not counted them. I wouldn't know. Women, let me know in the comments down below. Only tell me if you're 100% sure, by the way. Do you know that for a fact? I got into an argument with a guy that thought limes were unripe lemons. He had so much conviction that by the end, I was beginning to question my own knowledge. That is how they get you. But to be fair, unripe lemons do look like limes, so it's not that daft unless you blindly believe it. My husband believed this as a kid too, until he knew better. I think that's fine. There are a lot of things that you believe as a kid, then you realize they're just wrong. The problem is if you still believe them into adulthood and beyond. That's where it gets a little bit silly, despite the fact that I agree. They do look quite similar. I work for a cell phone company, and someone seriously thought that 5G towers were causing and distributing COVID. I was extremely surprised that once I explained cell phone towers aren't creating extremely specific biological matter and distributing them through radio waves to your face, they actually understood how crazy that sounded. There we go. We're getting somewhere. That is progress. Back during the mosque shooting in New Zealand and the government there were trying to ban guns, my coworker said that they can't do that since it violates the American Second Amendment. You kind of have to laugh at something like this. The epitome of dark humor. People dying, but hey, you can still say something so stupid. When I was a kid, and on and off when I was older, until after it was decommissioned, my dad worked at a nuclear power plant. I was mentioning this to a college-age co-worker at one point. I think I was telling a story about take your daughter to work day or something, and a co-worker stops me. Wait, those are really real? I stopped talking at a loss for words. I then had her repeat what she wanted to know. Nuclear power plants are actually real things? I thought they were made up for like The Simpsons. They're not. Women don't have rectums. Okay, finally, we have one. And I was hoping this would come up. We have something that people think is dumb, but it's actually true. This is confirmed. I've confirmed it firsthand. Oh, look, there you go. Someone has replied below. And look, they look like a woman. I can confirm this is in fact true. We poop out of our belly buttons. There you go, confirmed, aka your belly butts. A professor in college refused to give back our test because you should know what you did wrong. That is just a way of getting out of marking it. I'm sorry. That is very clever. That's very, very clever indeed. In many ways, he has passed the test and you guys as students have all failed. You got COVID. Oh my goodness me. This one just looks ridiculous. You got COVID because you aren't spiritually fit and therefore attract negative things. That's why I'll never get it. I'm spiritually fit. This person also refuses to get COVID tests when they are sick. Yeah, I guess you can't be diagnosed with COVID if you aren't tested for it. And also, I feel like it's only fair that this person now contracts COVID because spiritual fitness. How about fitness? A guy I work with said that a football referee runs over the distance of a marathon during a game. I pointed out that a football game was only 90 minutes long and that the marathon record is just over 2 hours, so that would be impossible. He said it was possible because a football referee changes direction a lot during a game and it all adds up. Maybe that's what I did wrong in my marathon. I pretty much just ran it in a straight line. If I'd gone back and forth, I would have got there so much faster. Oh, what a shame. It took me 3.5 hours. Could have got it done in just 90. What am I doing wasting 2 hours of my time? I'm having thoughts about my life. And now I'm also having thoughts about uploading this episode at all. Some of those comments, ideas, theories were more stupid than a guide dog driving a car. And that is saying something. Guys, that's going to do it for this one. Really hope you enjoyed it. Back on r/AskReddit. I'm not sure if that was a mistake or not. I've learned absolutely nothing, but I feel better about myself because I would never say anything as stupid as the stuff I've just read. Hope you feel the same way. Or maybe if you're really, really dumb, you actually have learned something. There you go. It works for everyone. If you enjoyed it, let me know down below in the comments. Give this a like, subscribe, follow, turn notifications on for daily Reddit content. And I'll see you guys all tomorrow for some more Reddit stories.